Hi everyone, and welcome today with a new session with the Africa Ohana cohort Salesforce Development Sprint. I hope everyone is excited. We are in session 4, so we have one more to go and we will be done. Time flies. I wish to have more time with you guys so we can go slower. I know some people felt the rush and that we were running like very fast. And also, I wish I had more time to share more details and more information with you and more harder topics and different things about development. But I believe where we are is pretty good enough for beginners. Like I like to think about it as Apex 101. If you have been following the videos from day one, we went through a lot together. Like we went through what's development and what's variables, the primitive data types and the complex. And we started to learn about if statement, ternary operators, the for loops. So we have a lot of things that we learn together. And some people would think, okay, that's not like very hard or like it's very easy topics. I assure you, yes, they are easy. They are not super hard, but for someone who's starting development, they will be overwhelmed by them. So that's why we had to start with those topics to make sure everyone is aligned with the knowledge and where we are. That's one thing. And even if someone feels too confident that they know it, I would challenge them to still pay really good attention because all those basics, once we move to harder topics, more advanced topics, you will find them in a way or another. They are basics and fundamentals for any development you are going through. So it's not a one-time thing. Like if I open for you random code from work and different projects, you will find that it's always, you will have always a class, you will have always a method, and you have to know how to do the method signature. You will have lists and sets and maps, and you have to know when to use lists versus sets versus maps and when to use each. Because you don't want to overcomplicate your code and use one while you need the other one. And the same for loops and so-called statements, also all of those details, they may sound like pieces and not like linked together, but I assure you they are very important and they are basics for your work and you have to pay good attention about them. I want to welcome Jennifer. Jennifer, I see you here today with us. I'm super excited to have you with us today.
Hi, Sally.
How are how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Who am I? I'm here.
Yes, glad to have you. Yeah, I'm going through like if you want to um say anything, let me know, Jennifer, and I'll give you the mic. Otherwise, I would go ahead and go with like the notes and everything I had for
Okay.
today.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Let's go ahead and start today. So today, I love to start usually with some housekeeping expectations. So I know we are in the final week and everyone started already their project. So I still keep saying, continue watching the videos in order. If someone has skipped any videos in the past, I would suggest you to catch up on those because you learn something new from each and we usually build on top. Um, during this cohort and even after the cohort, we'll still have our cohort 1 Africa Ohana channel on Slack, and you have the other channels on Code with Sally. So feel free to keep communicating and keep the questions coming. Ask your questions. You will find either myself or someone else willing to help you. So it's your community and your environment. The more you will interact with others, you will build network and connections, and you will gain more knowledge as well. So keep it coming. Uh, Unfortunately, like some announcements and some details about the final projects. At this time, I cannot add any more teams. We have 3 teams at the moment. We cannot add extra teams at this time. And the reason is because we have been working on the project and the team communication and how we organize the teams since last week. So this week is the final touches. If everyone finished their homework, they have each team have like a scheduled task when they will finish which requirement and scheduled meetings, when to meet to do code review and select the best piece of code and everything. So at this point, we cannot add more teams because we don't have enough time to reach the maturity of the group where other team members and groups are at this moment. Just to remember everyone, the final presentation will be Tuesday the 16th, and it will be at 11 a.m. Eastern time till 1 p.m. Eastern time. So we will have a longer session that day. We want to have good and enough time for the 3 teams to present, and we want to showcase what they reached, what they learned, and everything they achieved. So we'll have a longer session. For the 3 teams we have actively working now, we would expect you to send and submit the project and the deliverables for the project either Saturday the 13th or Sunday the 14th, the latest. And the reason why we are saying that, because you need at least 1 to 2 days to meet with your teammate, prepare your slides, your demo, what you will be presenting, what are the use cases, agree on the scenario you will be showing, who's showing which piece, and how you will present your project. So remember, and that's true in any live project and commitments you have, you would have the time to work on a task and implement it, but your work is as good as you would present yourself and what you achieved and how you reach the solution and present your work. So we want to get this experience together, how to like we are not live, but it's remote, how to give the opportunity for each team member to speak up on a piece of your implementation. So it's very good and very important. So please make sure to give yourself enough time for this preparation. So even if you want to submit it on Friday and have 3 days, it's really up to you. The latest I would expect you to send me your project will be Sunday. All team members needs to be attending the last day of presentation and present in order to be considered delivered the project successfully. So we won't be accepting that one team member is just presenting or the other team members didn't show up for the presentation. And again, that simulate real life. If you have a demo with a client and you don't show up to the demo, it's a big red flag that you didn't show up, or maybe you don't know what was implemented and you are avoiding the discussion altogether. So it's very important, please, for anyone from the teams, if any of your team members is not here today, please make sure that they watch this video and also make sure that they know the expectation is that everyone will be in the final presentation. Otherwise, they may be considered not participated in the project. So please make sure to communicate that to everyone. What and how you should be presenting yourself, I'll give you some ideas. We want to present the team, so you should introduce yourself and maybe each of you introduce themselves or one member introduce all the team and say where they are from, their experience in development briefly. Then we would be expecting live demo for your solution that involve triggers and how they are working. If we asked for some scenarios like to cover through different trigger handlers. We want to see those live, so we want to see them working. I added a challenge optional. It's nice to implement it if you have time, your team, and I will discuss it later. But this will be executed in Developer Console. So again, in the live demo, if you did this challenge, like run it in Developer Console and showcase with the bug statements that you are getting results that you were expecting. So you will show it's based on SOCO and SOSO. So you'll show the data and then demonstrate that the Developer Console was able to find the records you are looking for. We would expect you as well to showcase that you did write your test classes, whether with a screenshot or you run the test classes at the time live. And a great way to present if you're proud of your implementation, maybe point out if you did test data factory or not. You focus on only positive or negative. Did you implement with the mindset of code coverage or really testing and testing different scenarios? So it's good to have an idea of what happened there and run the test classes and show either live or screenshot. Also, it would be nice to have, if you have slides or even if you don't do it through slides, it's good to explain how the team worked together, how you collaborated, who did the implementation, or all of you did it and you did the code review as we suggested, and you picked the best code pieces. It's good to show what are the lessons you learned through the course, like the big aha moments for you, like when you were learning about Apex. Also, what did the project add to you? Is it for collaboration more? Is it to read requirements and convert it to code? What are the challenges and what are the big lessons you learned? Also, if you faced any obstacles while you're working, it's nice to showcase what are those and how you solve them if you did. Also, be creative. Like you can add more details, you can remove sections. I will confirm with the team, but I'm thinking maybe for each group we'll have between 25 to 30 minutes. But I will leave this to Jennifer and the rest of the team to decide, like, if we have three groups, what's the maximum? But I think in average, 25 minutes should be good. And I confirm on Slack as well. But yeah, and my advice, don't leave it till last minute to prepare. You should be meeting and rehearsing. And that's why I say you may need a day or two. Like, don't do it in silos. I would suggest that you meet and you run the presentation as if, or the demo and the use cases you'll be covering as if you are on the last day. And that will help you decide, for example, one person will be sharing their screen only and the others will be unmuting and muting themselves, or you will do screen share, stop screen share, and the other person will do screen share. So it will get you used to how you would run your demo on the day. And again, that's to mimic the real life. In real life, if you have a demo for the client and if you have a big team and different things to showcase after a sprint that is done during work, you don't just go and like do it on the fly when you have to present. You have to prepare ahead of time what you are presenting and what are the things that you are very proud of and you want to showcase for them, and to make sure you are covering all the use cases as well. So that's something I suggest every team has to do it as well. For everyone who didn't make it to a final project, you are still more than welcome, and you are strongly invited to still show up to the last session and cheer for your team, for the teams and the effort they put to the final project, and get inspired of what they reach and how what they learned and how the final project impacted them so far. So far, we have two special guests that they will be joining us that day to celebrate with us and to see the demos. And it depends on the time if they will give feedback. Again, it's good way to network. It's good way to showcase. So please come ready, come prepared. They are very nice people. So and I keep it as a surprise, or maybe I'll see with Jennifer and the team if we'll announce it a bit before the day to keep you more excited about them. But again, it would be a nice day. Let's all celebrate. And again, just so no one panic. At this stage, people who are still in the final projects deserve to be there. Unless they just disappear and they don't show up in the team meetings, they don't communicate, they don't continue working hard, that's the only case we'll be removing more people from the groups. But if anyone is currently in the group, that means you did your job so far amazing in communicating and in working hard during the weeks. So please keep going, keep trying, keep doing your best. The only thing I'm requesting, don't just disappear and we don't know what's happening. If anything happen, we are here to support you. But if you don't tell us, like you have something and you cannot make it to the meeting, we cannot change the time. You have to communicate. And again, this is real in real life. If someone needs you, you have to tell them if you cannot make it so they can switch. Um, the other thing is, I want to uh, give a big shout out to two special groups. We have three. We had more. Unfortunately, we removed some, but currently we have three groups. I want to shout to those specific groups because they were amazing in listening to the instructions, the advice we give on how to communicate, how to get themselves organized, how to keep each team member engaged and encouraged, and they keep pushing each other. And some of them is doing even a daily stand-up, and that's a real thing in real projects. We have daily stand-up to say what we achieved, what we will work on today, what are our blockers. So I was impressed by that. And I want to give, do we have representative from group one?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so Monica, if you have something to share with the group and everyone who didn't make it to the final project, I would love you to tell us how it's going, how the team is feeling, and are you excited for the final project?
Yes, yes, very exciting. Actually, everyone is working with each other. Great team, really appreciate it. And it's a bit hard to finish the project and the videos, but we are making it. We are going through it. I think we all started already on the project. The triggers already. So yeah, I think we might finish the expert challenge as well.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Monica. And I really appreciate like each of your group team members. What I still wish from the three groups, I wish that next time when we are presenting and we say like group and we have a better name than group 1 and 5 and 4. We have
You're right.
1, 4, and 5.
You're
So
right. I have to be here. Yes, yes, we will next time.
yes, please. And do we have a representative from group 5?
Yes, yes, I'm here.
Okay, the mic is with you. Nahum, right?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's Nahum.
Yes, you
Thank you,
show us the
Sally.
iPhone,
And I
sorry.
would sorry, I just switch
Yeah, yes, yes.
device. Sorry. I would like to say thank you for our group members as well. Everyone was active. They share what they learned today. They share what they will try to accomplish for tomorrow, for today, what they learned yesterday. So this one will encourage us, and you'll feel responsibility when you promise I'll do this, and then if you didn't do that, you will try to catch up with the group. So we're doing good. I don't have any experience in Apex, but I'm learning very well now, and I really would like to thank you. And if those of you who didn't get the chance to have a group or to do the project, still the project question is there. You can go watch the videos again and again, and then you can come up and work on the projects. And like you said earlier, the Slack group is the community is ours now. So if you have any question or something, you can ask, you can share with us. We're there to share what we have learned. And one thing that helped me, I can say, is like after I just saw the video, it will I'll try to understand the concept after I asked Sally, and she told me not to memorize every code, everything. So it will help me to memorize the concepts. To understand the concept. So I'll go to Lovable, and then I'll give the prompt, and then it will generate something nice and easy to understand and to remember the concept. So, and sharing that to the group also had give me something, to do more in learning Apex language. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And Nahum, I don't want to put you on the spot, but maybe in the last session, if we have time, maybe you can share your screen and show us how you do it on Lovable and help everyone, like if they want to use Lovable for other stuff or for their own learning and or own summaries. If you want to demo this, you don't have to answer me now. I don't mean to put you on the spot. The idea came to my mind when you are talking. Think about it and let me know, and we'll see how we can make it happen if you're interested. But again, very like I want to appreciate as well the third group. The reason why we don't have them here on the board, group 1 and 5 were exceptionally very organized and their communication exceptional from day one. Group 4, they are doing their best to catch up. There was some issues with the group formation at the beginning, but they are getting there. So I'm sure they will do amazing and they will deliver a high quality project and they will have an amazing demo and we'll celebrate them as well next time. I just wanted to appreciate the extra effort and time group 1 and 5 is giving. That's all. But all 3 groups are amazing. I just wish to have nicer names next time for the demo. That would be great. The last thing I want to say for the groups, don't worry if you don't finish even the full requirements or like some of it happens last minute broke or breaks. Send me a message and we'll get together on Zoom as much as I can so I can help you support you get over like fix the issue or get it working. The only request I'm saying, don't try to do things that are not best practice if you know it's not a good practice just to make it work. Like either it's working because you followed everything we learned together or raise your hand and I will help you. So again, I'm here to support. I always say the more you give and the more you are serious about this cohort, the more I'd be willing like to support you. I wouldn't let you down and I would be here to support you anytime. So thank you so much for the 3 groups. I really appreciate it and I'm super excited and looking forward for the demos. So the project, and this is the wrong like image, but the project you will find it in, I will leave you the chat here. I just got from week 3 the requirements we had. So again, it's very important to go through it once you are done to make sure you have everything. So I noticed, for example, some people said like, we'll have this relationship as a lookup. If we are asking for master details, please stick to master details. If we are giving you pick list values to use, please stick to those pick list values. So just go through line by line and make a checkbox. Like, and if someone like in the team, we said like the creating the objects is not something like it doesn't matter if someone does it or everyone does it, but and like everyone would do it in their org. But like, I mean, it's good to have a second eye. If one person did it in the demo org, I would suggest another person to go through it to make sure the data types are correct. No one did it like a date time instead of date. And that's again something good for the future, like before saying the task is done, make sure everything is done correct. So 1, 2, and 3 is from last week. We didn't change them. Task 4 as well, trigger on the on the project is the same. If anyone noticed any changes between week 3 and 4, please let me know. I may have copied wrong and I will fix it. But until unit testing requirements, they should be identical. So please, any of the groups, if you notice difference between week 3 and 4 in requirements from 1 to 5, please notify me and I will fix the change for everyone, and they should be identical. The extra challenge that we want you to try and attempt to work on, we want to do a utility class called search utility, and we want to have 2 methods in them. One of them is a method that will search the project tasks and will take a status value, parameter status, to filter the project tasks based on the parameter passed for the method. This method should return a list of project tasks. So that will be done through SOCL, and the method will return a list of as objects. This second method, we want you to play a little bit with SOCL And you will have a method that we return. I have to fix here. This will return a list of the search result wrapper, and it takes a keyword. What it will do, you will run a also that will search project task, account, and contact with a keyword that you passed. And you should return it as a list of search result wrapper. The object type would be whether it's a project task, account, or contact name. You can have the record type and the record name field. And additional information can be a concatenation, like if you were getting multiple fields from the project, you can concatenate them, or account or contact, like you can concatenate multiple fields of your choice for the additional info. So again, that will help you practice writing a utility class, practice another SOCL with a filter, and SOCL and how to convert the results into a wrapper class. And you will have to write the test class for it. So this is optional, but it's highly recommended because we didn't do a big assignment for SOCL and SOCL, so it's good to have your hands on and experiment with it. Again, if anyone is having an issue to do this implementation, please let me know and we'll go through it again together, or I will answer your questions. So those are the requirements. We didn't add, this one is the only addition we did. It's not it's not mandatory, it's recommended. And be mindful again, like if in the live demo, you'll use developer console to show it. For example, if you show that you'll pass, let's say status completed, to have some records with completed, so we see it. If let's say here, the search keyword you will show is Adam, so have a project that has Adam in it, project task as well, the account and contact, so you can show you got back with the single keyword multiple records from multiple objects. So be mindful when you prepare for demo to prepare data that match what you will be demoing through the presentation. Again, it's highly recommended. It's extra challenge. It's nice to try it. You may be able to do just the SOCL, not the SOCL. You may be able to do both, but not the test class. So again, it's multiple requirements in one, but all of them are optional. You can pick and choose which one. It's more or less for you to learn. And then for the final submission, you will have the you'll submit your code. I prefer, to be honest, to arrange a meeting with you in person. Instead of you sending me the code and me sending you back comments, I can meet with the team. You give me access to the org. You tell me open this file, and I'll give you directly my comments while we are meeting. It will be easier for me. But if we cannot arrange time that works for you and me, then we'll have to do it with just screenshots for the test classes and the coverage. And also I'll be looking for Slack, and I will be keeping track if anyone is struggling or not communicating and the team is looking for their help and they are not there for the team. So keep connecting with your team on Slack. Again, final presentation. I believe 25 minutes should be fine. If anyone wants to demo in less time, more time, let me know and we'll arrange with the team how we can make that happen. Again, those are repetitive, the things that we said through the slides. Camp Apex, you have like the links that we have. Like I think we added the SOCL, you didn't have it last week. So go through it as much as you can. And also, if you want to explore Camp Apex beyond those sections, feel free. Again, the priority is for the homework. For the project, if you have extra time or you want to take a break and do something fun, go for it for sure. After finishing the cohort, our learning is not done. I would suggest that everyone can go to this link, which will take you to a playlist of the intermediate level of Apex. Intermediate level of Apex is a harder level for the Apex, but you'll find in it that we are talking about Apex invocation types and how we can invoke Apex from multiple places. and how we can work with asynchronous Apex. You'll hear people talking about Apex badge, scheduler classes, and other stuff. So the intermediate level is your next step if you want to keep learning. And again, no one will be following up on you if you did it or not, unless we start a new cohort at some point. But at this point, it's your learning journey. If you really want to learn, go ahead. How you can ask your questions. Again, Slack is here for that. You can ask. And also you can attend Code with Sally sessions, and you can ask your questions before or at the end of the session, and we can go through it. Only if we have a big group of people who have the same question, we may do a follow-up session from time to time with the cohort and answer those questions in one go. So again, the communication is key, because I won't be able to tell if like we have 5 people or 10 people studying the same thing and they are asking a lot of questions about this topic. So let's make a session for them. So your communication is key. That will help determine if we need to do that or not. Final message, good luck for everyone who's working on the project. And I'm excited and looking forward to see what you will achieve during this week. And the finish line is so close. For Camp Apex, we will run the final statistics before the next session. But so far, this is how many tasks each person did so far on Camp Apex. So amazing progress. Keep it going. And Camp Apex will be there for you after you finish the project as well. So priority for the project, then for sure, if you have time, go for Camp Apex, or if you want breaks in between, go for it for sure. So again, thank you so much for everyone who is working hard and trying their best to learn and trying to increase the knowledge. You have to balance between videos and knowledge and Camp Apex to reach your potential and the maximum learning you can get out of both worlds. So thank you so much. Now it's the time for questions. I know, I think it was Razak. He sent me a piece of code that I want to go through it. Let me open the org. He had a question why it's not working, and I put the code for you, and I want someone to tell me, what do you think the best way we should take to think about the issue or how to fix it? And before going to that, and while it's opening, anyone has a question related to the project or the deliverables? I don't see questions in the chat.
Yeah,
Yes,
I have.
Yes.
It's about, I already asked you that. It's about when I set a negative scenario where the name of the project task is missing, the system auto-generates the name for me, and I don't want them.
Where in the requirements we like, which requirement that's touching you?
It's testing, unit testing. I'm just testing a scenario.
Okay, let me finish the first question and then we'll go to that. So the first question we had this one. He sent me this code and he was wondering why, if I try to run it, let's see what's the error. He has a list. He's adding one item here, and he seems to be adding another item here. So let's see if it will fail. It didn't cause an issue for my end. Like, let's see if I copied wrong or not. Let's see. Razak, if you are here as well, you can give me the code exactly if I copied in a wrong way. Okay, I found it. Okay, yeah, I think I copied in a wrong way. So let's do that. And I think it was like this. and like this. So he had to add a cheese and then added a couple of items. And let's see if it will fail. So it will fail. First of all, the error will tell you which line. So it told him it's line 3, and he told me that, which is fine. Let's read the message that is coming from the error. It would tell you, method does not exist or incorrect signature. So it's complaining that add all that you are using is incorrect signature. You have here, you are using add all, which takes 1, 2, 3, and 4 strings. So here you have 1, 2, 3, and 4 strings. To know why it's failing, you should take a look at the list methods in Apex. So I will open here, list methods in Apex, and I will go and search for the list methods, and I will go for add all. So do you see here add all? It takes from a list. So the parameter here is a list. And another overload for the method, it takes a set. So you can either pass a list or a set. And that's why here it's failing, because we are passing 4 parameters and the method is expecting add all list or add all and a set. So the signature is expecting something and you are passing something else. So you are having here a list. It should take a list or a set, but we are passing 4 strings. So in order for this to work, you can form a list from those strings. So you can do new list of string and initialize it with the items you have here. That you can do it in one line like that. And when you do execute, it will work, no issues. Or if that syntax is confusing people because it's new, so you can create a list here. So you can create a list of string and you can do list new items and you have here your list and then you pass a new list here. So it's the same. It's either you are defining, initializing and creating the list in a separate line and use this variable and call it here, or we could took this all together and put it here in the parameter. Anyone has a question regarding this piece of code? Okay. So the next question about, we have a question. Let me see if I have here a custom object so we can test. Country. I think I have an object called country. And I have some fields here. So let me take region, for example. And I would create an instance from the country. Country object. And I create an instance from this as object. Oh, sorry, country. And I say region, and I would put ABC for now. And I will insert this country object, and I will print the ID. And I do here country object dot ID. I want to print it. Let's insert it. Invalid type country. Okay, sorry. The as object country underscore C. So I created a country. The question is when I go here, let's see. Let's do this one. And I put here the ID of the record we got. I just want to see it. So it will go to the country and you will find that you have a country name of different string here, like A07. Anyone knows what is this? value coming from? Any idea?
From the ID.
It's coming from the ID. Exactly. So the ID, whenever we create an S object, regardless of its country or account or contact, Salesforce, when we were talking about the ID variables at the beginning, we said that Salesforce assign a record ID to each object. And something to add as well, more for you, for your knowledge, the beginning of your ID can tell you if it's an account or contact, or if it's a like custom object, and which object it is. Like it's unique. The first couple of characters are unique per the object type. The question is here, and I think Ayub was testing or trying the unit test classes, and he was expecting that it will fail because the name is not there. This is something out of the box Salesforce does for us, that when you leave the name is a standard field. You'll find it in all objects. So the name field, and let me show you here something as well. When you leave it empty, as what we happened with us, Salesforce will fill it with your record ID. It won't leave the country name as empty. But someone will say, in some cases, you don't want to fill the country name or like the record name, the project task name, for example. You don't want to fill it, and people, you are not, when you work with LWC, you are not giving them a text field to fill it. What people can do is they can choose, in that case, to have, instead of data type text, you can have your record name as auto number, and you can say here C, and it will be a count. So C01, you can start here. So it will keep incrementing C1, C2, C3, and so on. But because here we have it as a text field and we don't have it as an auto number, that's why Salesforce in the background, whenever it finds the country name or any record name empty and it's not auto number, that's why it will take the value of the ID and put it in the name. So I know you are trying to test a negative scenario, but your negative scenario here doesn't match how Salesforce will behave. If the name field is empty, it will fill it for you with the record ID.
So there is no negative scenario for requiring name.
Let me see what you mean. So let's open here the requirements. So the project task. So negative scenario would be that, for example, you have here block if due date is today or in the past, right? We want to make sure that the due date will be in the future, today or in the future, for example. One negative scenario would be here that you try to insert a project task with due date in the past, 2 days ago, 3 days ago. So that's a negative scenario because what will happen if you have your trigger correct and trigger handler correct, you will add an error that tells stop, like it will give user an error that they cannot save the record. So that means a negative scenario, that an exception will happen and you can check that the exception happened or not. Make sense?
Yeah, I know. I was just asking about since that Salesforce generate the name for us out of the box. So there will be no negative scenario for the name specifically.
There is negative scenarios, but the negative scenario you are using is not correct. It's not considered a negative scenario because if you had in the first place a requirement that you want them to fill the name and don't leave it empty, you should have handled it already by something in your trigger or in another way to stop the user from saving without having the name. But if you don't have this requirement or you don't want to do it, it can be an extra thing that you add to the project It's always welcome. If someone wants to add something and say like, we thought about this scenario as well. It wasn't in the requirement, but we finished the requirement and we thought like to experiment this scenario and we did it. More than welcome. Okay. But if you are expecting that the name will be null, it's wrong expectation. So if you test the negative scenario for the name, expecting the name will be null, and that is not correct. And negative scenarios, mainly when we are talking about test classes, is that an exception will happen and you want to check that the code is handling the exception correct and will return the error you are expecting as well. There is a question about triggers and unit test classes. Those are two big topics. So is there any like more specific questions? So I can start with them. Nikki, I know you had a question about the triggers. So what's confusing you, or what's the main points you want to learn more about for the triggers? So I can start with that. And anyone else, like if you have specific question about triggers in test classes, just let me know what's the question and I will answer it. If not, I will do my best. Okay, handler. So a lot of people are feeling a bit confused about handlers. And let's go through an example here and I will try to explain. What do you mean why we had to try other methods? And there is a question in the chat why we had to try other methods in handler, but I don't get what do you mean? Before we arrived at handler. Okay, so the way I was teaching triggers, I wanted you to know that it's for automation and it can be working, how it's working. And it's working whenever an event happened to a record. And then through the explanation, we said like, what's different before events and after events, and how to think about if my use case required before or an after. And I like always to say like, if you need, let's say when the record is inserted, I want to update something else, or when the record is updated, I want to send an email or do something. That means I want to make sure that the event happened and the save for the record, whether it's creation or update, happened and saved. So that's why in those cases, I would go for after. But let's say I want to do some validation and I want to stop the user from adding an invalid value or something. In that case, I would go for before, because if I will validate after the record is saved or created, it's too late. Yes, I see now it's valid. It violates the requirements. So I cannot do anything. It's already inserted. So usually we have a big comparison in the video when to think before or after, but that's a small summary for that. Next is when you work with triggers, you have to always remember that if, for example, you have a before insert, you want to work with before insert, that you have a before insert here. I see, and it happened to me when I started development a lot, that maybe I would do all of that, and I forget that I started the trigger with before insert only, and I keep spinning and trying to figure out why my code is not executed. So that's something else. It's very important if you want to handle before update. It's not just to create the trigger handler for it and call it, but also to make sure in here you have before update. If you need after update, if you don't have this and you have everything in place, it will never work. So that's something, always make sure that you have the right event. For the trigger, when we started the videos, I said like, let's forget about trigger handler. And that's why I keep saying it's a learning curve. Like you have to start small and then add on what you learned. So when you start working on triggers, and even you can do that in your projects if you are confused still about triggers and trigger handlers, you can have the same switch case or if else statements, whichever is easier for you. I like the switch case, I feel it's more clean. But you can have your if switch case, or even if people, beginner sometimes prefer trigger dot is before and trigger dot is insert. So I want before and insert. Even if you want to start that, that's fine. So you have the requirement and you want to do it. You created your trigger. You said I wanted just before insert. That's how you would start. I would start with this skeleton. I know I want before insert, so I do it here. Then if you want, start even with the if statement. I have is before and is insert. Then let's say, let me remember here what we had for this one. Before insert. And I will go here. You know that the last name is only required for contacts. So I want to add another check here that here I would do this. I do trigger dot is new. Sorry, not new. New. So I loop through the new records that I'm trying to insert, and I'm going through before, and I would check if the first name is empty, then add an error. First name is required. So what I have here means my event or my code will happen only before insert. So I won't run this code when it's updating. So if they clear the name after we update the contact, nothing will happen. Nikki, is that clear so far? Keeping an eye on the chat. Need a sign. And for anyone, okay. So we have, that's the first step when you work on triggers and you don't want to be confused. Next step is it a good idea to have our logic in our trigger? The answer is no. Why is that? Because tomorrow you may have another requirement for the after insert, and you will do like this. Else if trigger dot is after and trigger dot is insert. And that's after insert. And then you can keep going if, else, if, long list of code. And you will keep adding inside of each if statement the code. When you come and try to maintain it and to look into it, it's pretty much messy and it would be so hard for you to maintain. Is it totally wrong? I would say if you are starting and you are trying to learn, it's not totally wrong. And you can start with that. But is it, for example, if we are in real work and working in a project, like, wouldn't this be acceptable? No, because once you hit like the job market and you are working, we are looking for the best practices. So best practices, we don't have logic here. So in that case, what do? What we do is that I like to name it the same name of the contact of the trigger. So I name my class contact trigger handler. So I know that it's related to the contact trigger. It's the handler of the contact. All what you do is that you can create a public static method. You can name it anything. And I know someone sent me here before a message and they said like, I will name my message method public static void check contact name, for example. And I will pass to it here a list of contact, list new contacts. So that's, again, you can be, your first trial to work with trigger handler can be like that. So you can create a check contact name and you will pass the contact and you can take the code here, the same code. I didn't take a different code and I put it here. So I have check contact name and it takes a list. So instead of trigger new, I pass this one. So I took the same code and still my code is in the trigger. So it's the same. I'm just looping. I have a method, utility method. We said utility method, we'll call it from the class not through an object. So if I want to call this here, I'll be calling the class name. So contact trigger handler dot, and I would call check contact name. And I'll pass here trigger dot new. So that can be your first step when you work on it. Any issues so far? Okay. What we don't like to do, we don't like to name our methods the way it is named now. The reason is we have it very specific now that it's checking the contact name. So let's say I come tomorrow and tell you I want to check as well the age, for example. Would that mean I'll create another method here and I will name it check contact age or email, check contact email. And I say here, instead of that, do email and say email is required. I can do that, but that means I will go to the trigger here and I have to change it to add another method to do check contact email. It's a utility method and I'm calling it from the trigger. It's possible and it's doable. But again, we don't like doing this way. What we like to do is that instead of having a method very specific like that, we'll have another method called with the event we are doing. So handle before insert. So I name it handle before insert. And in that, I can add the logic we had to check the contacts. And then I'll take this one and replace it here. I don't need this one anymore because I can, as simple as add this logic in the same method here. So I check here. If the contact is first name empty, give me an error. If the email here is empty, give me another error. Or give me an error. Like the first name is not empty, but the email is empty. Give it to me, it's wrong. So that gives you flexibility that if you want to add more requirements, you can now, once like you have the before insert, if you want to add more requirements, you are not touching the trigger. Your main work will be in the trigger handler here. If I want to take it one more step to make things cleaner and better, I will explain to you something now as well. I may want to add the same requirements, but I want to check it for before update. What we will do, I will add here before update, and I will add here an else if trigger dot is before and trigger dot is update. And I want to call another method called handle before update. Handle before update. And here I have list of new contacts. You can take as well map of ID, contact, map, new contacts. And another map ID and contact, map, old contacts. So I can have this method for the before update. In that case, I will go here and in my trigger handler, I call the before update. And trigger.new, I have trigger dot, can I do that? Old map, trigger dot new map. Anyone notice an issue? I know one person, please don't say yes or no. But do you think I'm calling the method correctly now? I know the method is empty. We didn't do the logic, but how I'm calling it here, the list of new contacts, old contacts map, new contact map, is it correct the way I did it? Try, say yes or no, and maybe say why. Joe, you are unmuted. You wanted to try. Go ahead. No one? Okay, please. Yes. I have user with a raised hand. I don't know who is there. Please. I can't
Can
hear.
I try it?
Yes, please.
It's wrong. You swap them around, so it won't work.
Correct. So it's very important, and I noticed this with someone who was working on the project. You have here expecting to pass a new map, then the old map. When you save, it won't tell you, sorry, it's wrong, because this is a map of ID and contact, and this is a map of ID and contact. So Salesforce doesn't know that you really meant to have the new first and then the old. It will work, but your results will be wrong. So always as advice, when you are working with trigger handlers, you can do this. So when you are calling it, you see, I want first the list of new. So I'm good. Then I can remove this and have my next is a list of new. Oops, I passed the old first. So you know that you did switch them. So you do the old new map and then the old. That's very important because even if you switch them, you won't get an error. It will work. No issues. Okay. So this how you would do it. Something as well. I had some people were asking, why do we work or how do we know those parameters? Like, what can I pass for the before insert versus before update versus before delete and so on? The answer, let's check the documentation together because I don't memorize them myself. So we'll do context variables. Triggers. And you open Salesforce documentation that we said we have to be confident to read it. And you have here the new map, the new list, old list, new map, and old map. Those are the 4 parameters that we need to decide when we are calling our handler if we'll be passing them or not mostly. So if I want to do old map, for example, the documentation tells me this map is only available in update. And because it said in update without saying before or after, that means it's available for both before and after update. And delete triggers. Old list is available again here. New map, it will tell you. It's available for before update, after insert, after update, after undelete. So it tells you which events this like context variable will have valid values that you can use. So that will dictate when you are doing your trigger handler methods, if you're doing before update or before insert or before delete, my advice, even if let's say you don't need the list of old, and let's see here, the old is available for update and delete. And here, this is update. It's best to add it, in my opinion, at least. Some people may disagree, but I like to add it from the beginning, the old. So new list, old list, new map, old map, or you can switch the order of them like new list, new map, then old list, then old map. It's really up to you how you define your method signature. The reason why I'm saying it's best to do it and keep it, because maybe now in my use case, I don't need the old list and I don't have it, and I save and I have my test classes and everything, and I deploy the code. Tomorrow, someone needs it or want to use it. They will have either to create another overload, like another method to say here trigger.old, because they don't want to impact what you have or what you have in the code, which I don't like. or they will choose to edit this one and they have to go change test classes, anything that is using this method. So in my opinion, the best thing to do is when you are working with a trigger handler to see what are the 4 parameters you can pass. Can you pass the 4, 2 of them, 3 of them, and pass them just in case? Okay. What's the usage of the old map? This is something you will use a lot when, especially, are you working with the before update. The benefit of it is that sometimes you have a requirement that you do something specific when a certain field change. Like, let's say when the email change, send confirmation email, for example, when the email change. How can I tell that the email changed? I have to see and compare what was the old value and what's the new value. So what we'll be doing, I'll go through contact in a list of new contacts. And I have my contact. What can relate the old and new contact that I'm 100% sure it didn't change and will never ever change? It's the record ID. So I know here, old, I can have here contact, old contact, equal, and I can do here map old contacts dot get, and I get using the record ID, the same record, but the old values for it. Because in that case, I can see here and can say like contact dot email does not equal contact dot old contact dot email. So I check that it's not the same. Like I can check the old and new value. And sometimes it's essential because in that case here, this is the only time I want to send email. If you don't have this check and you will loop through the contacts directly and send an email, assuming that it will come here when the email is changed. Sometimes someone will change last name, change only. If you do that and you don't have the check old and new, that means you'll send an email saying, please confirm your new email, even though they changed the last email first only. They didn't change. And sometimes they will change last name and email. In that case, yes, that makes sense. But if we change the last name only, it doesn't make sense. So the old map is important when you want to compare the value of a certain field in the past before the action. And it comes to like you want to make sure you are not updating this randomly or all the time. Sometimes you want to create a record or to do something only if certain field change or something happened. And it can be in the after update, like because you'll notice here, old map is also available in the after update. So you want to create a task. I want to create a task. Let's say here I can have, let's assume this is after update as well. Like, let's do this. And I want it after update and I create a task. Like it will be more clear when we do it that way. Handle after update. So I want to do handle after update. So when I want to update, only I will create a task when the contact like subscribe to or opt in for communication, for example. Opt in for communication. If I don't check if opt in for communication change or not, like I have to check if it's not equal and it's now like opt in is true, like I will send the email. Otherwise, if I don't do that, if they change their last email, I will send it to them, like, and so on. So that's very important, like the old map. And I see a note in the chat, the old map is read-only. That's 100% correct. And the list of old values as well is read-only. The only thing and the only way to update a record before being inserted is when you are working with the before and you are updating the list of new. So you won't be updating the list of old. You will be updating the records in the list of new that match your criteria. So the importance of this one, the old and new, is in that case is like sometimes you want to do something for before or after update, but you want to do it when a certain field change and it changed to true. For example, opt-in, I want to send them an email only. Let's say contact, I don't have an opt-in email field, but I put it for now. Like I want to say is opt-in and it's not this like the value, and most probably we do that as well. Like the new value is true. And when we work with Boolean, I can stop like that because this will return true, or you can do it equal true. So, and in that case, I send an email. So it's very important, like the old and new, like the usage of old is mainly in such scenarios that you want to do validation, or you want to run something only when specific field change and maybe change to a certain value. So you don't want to do it randomly. Otherwise, if they change the last email, I would be sending the like without this check, even like I can have this check without old and new. I'm checking like they have opt-in and I will send the email. But what if they change the name only? Name only, last name only. And in the past, like the previous action they did, they changed opt-in for contact with true. I would come and see like the last name changed. I will go through the records one by one. I will check this contact is opt-in. I will see yes, because I already changed it in another edit. And I will send email again. So that's another mistake. I have to compare the old and new because I want to make sure it changed from false to true. It's not just that it's true in like anytime. It was false to true and I changed it to true and I want to send the email. Nikki, like, and everyone, does that help with like the triggers, trigger handler, how to think about it, the usage, how to read the documentation? And again, I try to have a summary, but all of that is in the videos if anyone wants to go through it in depth. But because I'm keep asking Nikki because she mentioned she wanted more details about them. So I just want to make sure if that's all clear. I'm waiting for any signal. Okay, I got this thumbs up. Anyone has a question about triggers and trigger handlers? Okay. For the classes, test classes, again, we have a lot of like videos talking about them in depth. The only thing I want to go through because I find it a bit tricky and I want to explain why we do it that way is when we have an exception. So let's say here, I want to go through this scenario. I have a math utility. Let me open the math utility. And in this math utility, I have this method that divide numbers. It takes number 1 and number 2. And if number 2 is 0, we want to return an exception. So that's an expected behavior. I want the method to behave that way. I want the method to return an error and an exception and not just to go here and divide them. I want when the user doesn't send a number 2, I want it to fail. And that's why we have here between a try and catch, we are calling math utility divide numbers in our test method. And in the catch, I have here, and I will show you why this has an issue that I don't like. I will show you that here it will catch an error and it will show, okay, yeah, you have the system.assert and we are good and everything is good. So let's go here, and here that's just someone was like sending me this code. They had like here that it passed. Let's go through this one. I will deploy it and let's try this test method. It changed correctly and I will run the test method and I will tell you why if there's something I don't like. It passed and I'm happy. Does that mean I did my test scenario correct? Yes and no. Yes, because it's working, it's passing. No, because if in the future someone goes, okay, says like, why are we throwing an error? If someone passes number 2 and let's do it instead of throwing an exception, I want to change my opinion and let's make it equal 1 without asking anyone. And that's something can happen, not specifically for this use case, but intentionally or unintentionally, like they may have misunderstood something or they changed something based on their understanding and it's not correct. So now if I go and send here, I should have an exception. And I'm expecting the code when the user passes 0 that will get an exception. Let's see if my test method will fail or not. I will run it. I'm hoping that it will fail. But see, it passed. That's a big red flag that, yes, we tried to test an exception, but even when the user changed the method to something wrong, the test class will pass. So if you did a method with the intention that this should happen and we should get an exception, if someone by mistake changed the code to a use case where it won't through an exception, your test method will still pass. So what's the solution? Let's go and see. If an exception happened in line 49, the code, where should it go? Like if I have here system.debug test, and it's a question for everyone. If I have an exception, like if I had the code correct and I had the exception here at line 49, will I ever be printing system.debug test, like I will see in the debug log test, or no? If the code will throw the exception correctly, like if we had here the throw exception correctly, in this line, when we call it, it will throw an exception because number 2 is 0. Will this line of code ever be executed?
No.
No. Another Gotham, like, what do you think? No. I see in the chat, no. Gotham, did you answer? I can't hear you. Your voice is very far. I have 2 no's in the chat. Any yeses? Does anyone expect this to be executed even if we have an exception or no? Okay, let me explain to you why it will never be executed if we have an exception. Because here we call, then we get an exception. Once we get an exception, the code stops. Stop. Nothing will happen. Can everyone see my screen? I get someone is saying that you cannot see my screen. Okay. Okay, so everyone can see it. Maybe, I don't know, network issue from your end or something. I'm not sure. Okay, so we call the method here and we get an exception. What will happen? The code runs sequentially from top to bottom. What will happen is that the code gets the exception here. Once it gets the exception, we 100% go to the catch. So we'll go to line 51. So line 50 will never be executed, ever. If the exception occurs and we have the code written properly and no one changed it, line 50 should never be executed. And we should go to the exception. So when we write our task class, we have to add something that tells the code, if you reach this line, you should give me an error. Because now someone changed the code and we are returning number equal 1. So that means this one won't cause any issues, no exception. So in that case, with no exception, we will see in the debug statement the test. But again, nothing is stopping the test method or telling the stop method, stop, you failed, you have to review. So what we should do is we should do an assert. And the assert has something called fail. And you can give it a message. We can say we were expecting an exception. So here it's me telling the code, if ever you reach this line 51, because I'm expecting an exception and I should never be executed. If something changed in the code and you can reach me, tell the test method that you are failing. It's not correct. So let's deploy. And I will run it. Run test. And now it failed because this line is reachable. And the exception didn't happen. So something stopped the test method and said, oops, something is wrong here. I was expecting that you never ever come to this line and line 51 never be executed. So that's very important. In that case, if we put this code again and we threw the exception, thank you, Jennifer. And we try again the test class and we run the test. Now, if it passed, it's what we are expecting because it didn't come. Like that means those lines never been executed. So the exception happened and we went to the assert. So that's a safe, like whenever you're testing an exception, it's very important to make sure you have the assert.fail because otherwise if someone changed the code and there is no exception anymore, you cannot tell if it's failing or not because you're not putting something to fail. So that's very important. I wanted to touch base on that because I saw a lot of people asking about test classes, and that's one of the things. The other thing of the test classes that you need to take care of is test data factory, how to work with test setup, all of that in the videos. If you have specific questions, ask about them. But in general, you'll find always the pattern, like you will always prepare your data, whether by like you called it already in the test setup or you will call it from somewhere else. Plus you will call the code that you want to test. I prefer always to put it in start and stop test, but if we are just starting, it's fine. And then we do our asserts, like because some people focus on calling methods just to call it, and they don't do their asserts, and they are doing it just for code coverage. It's very important to do it also for testing. So that's just quick things that I would like to advise. So I want to thank you all again for your time. It was great to have you here with me today in the session. And hopefully, I'm wishing the best of luck for all the teams. In this couple of days remaining, very important, the communication, keeping in touch, keeping everyone updated with your status. And if you have blockers, don't leave it to the last minute. We'll try as much as I can to meet with the teams on Saturday and Sunday and go through the code to review. If not, you'll submit it and I will check it offline. Be careful with your presentation. Your project is as good as you are well prepared for the presentation. And also, it's very important to remind anyone, like you have to be in the session and you have to present to be considered like delivered your project, not just sending the code. So please, everyone from the 3 teams, communicate that and let everyone know. And yeah, I hope I answered questions and try to clarify things as much as I can. If you have any questions, always keep them coming. And as much as I can, I'll jump on a call. It's easier sometimes to explain instead of just typing. So keep me posted. And anyone who didn't make it to the final project, please keep learning, checking the videos, send your questions. You can try and attempt doing the project yourself as well on the side. It's all learning experience for you as well. I hope the session was useful. I will upload the recording on YouTube and I'll share it with everyone as well to watch it or to refer to it if needed. Thank you so much. And I'll see you next week on the final day, the big day. Thank you. Bye.